dinners, lunches, breakfasts, afternoon teas, and morning teas. So, here we are at the studio of renowned artist Ronnie van Hout. We're keeping a social distance, of course, and we're just here to ask Ronnie about what sort of things he's doing during the COVID-19 crisis. So I'd just like to begin with thank Hi, I'm at the studio of artist Ronnie van Hout. I'm going to ask him a few questions about what kind of things he's been up to during this COVID-19 crisis, and does it affect artists in any way? Do they do anything differently? That sort of thing. Anyway, thanks for agreeing to do this, Ronnie. Whoa, back it up. Keep your distance. It's okay. Okay. First of all, I'd just like to ask you, what are you working on right now? What am I working on right now? Well, not much really. Some big hands with faces on them. Yeah, it's basically what I've been doing it for quite a while. Oh man. So how do you think the lockdown's affected your work, if it has at all? How's the lockdown affected my work? Well, first off, I was actually having an exhibition that was on in Auckland when the lockdown kind of hit New Zealand, and they went straight into stage 4, so basically the show shut down. And it was kind of the first show I'd done for a few years, so it was a bit slightly disappointing. But I'm not the only person in that boat, and quite a few people that I know, quite a few other artists had exhibitions planned or had been working on exhibitions that were due to open. So I'm not the only one that's been affected in that way. And in other ways, it hasn't really affected it at all. Just not getting to the studio as much as I would like to, and probably focusing on different things. Staying at home, homeschooling is another way to do it. And also, in our kind of wisdom as a family, we decided to get a pet. Little puppy, thinking that it would be the greatest time to have a dog at home, because we were at home, and so I spend a lot of time taking the dog for walks, which is basically something I'm doing. I kind of pretended I could turn that into art by photographing backyards, or front yards, I should say. But it's kind of like the sourdough bread making of art in some way. So that's I just gave that up, and I just look at things now and probably take the opportunity to explore streets that I never go down, and expanding my understanding of my neighborhood, which is possibly another COVID lockdown cliche as well. We're all doing different things at the moment. So you just tell me, how are you spending your days at the moment? Yeah, how am I spending my days at the moment? That's it, I guess. I am spending my days at home, mostly, homeschooling, and making lunch, breakfast, dinner, doing a bit of teaching online as well, and kind of making myself available, and trying to maybe work on some ideas, and maybe doing stuff like this. Yeah, this might seem like a kind of an odd question, but what kind of new work do you think will come out of this situation, and or maybe has it changed the way you're thinking about your work at the moment? So what new work is likely to come out of this situation? No, I don't, I think I'm probably at that kind of stage. I've seen things come and go in the past, and I don't think it really affects what I'm doing. I think I'm kind of pretty set in the kind of work I make it, and I think in another way of looking at it is that I think choosing to be an artist is a kind of a self-imposed form of isolation in some ways. It was sort of choosing to become an artist itself was kind of a way to sort of not participate in normal life. So it's not really affecting me in any way, and pretty self-obsessed, and so it's possibly kind of annoying in the sense that it's I'm probably less able to be self-obsessed and less able to spend time on my own, which I find kind of difficult. So that's kind of the way I'm thinking about it as well. What can art do in situations of crisis? And how can it respond? What can art do in situations of crisis? And how can it respond? I think art just does what it does, and I think it's not really up to the artists themselves to sort of do anything in some ways. I mean, it's like I just said before, it's not really changing the way that I'm thinking about my work or what I'm going to be doing. I don't tend to sort of respond to short-term things. It's I think art is kind of like not a commitment. It's a kind of an ongoing process. So I think who knows? I think it's not really up to the artists themselves. It's probably up to the institutions of art to that you'll probably just see a lot of work or a lot of exhibitions that are prioritizing stuff about isolation, which is kind of weird because it was kind of the humorous thing was that I think that we were tending towards a kind of an art that was more collaborative, and that was sort of the way things were going. That kind of this idea of the public and public art and art that kind of invited the viewer in and all that kind of thing. So it's vaguely ironic that you kind of. And I guess maybe that'll be the tendency to be a focus to do these kind of Zoom art or something like that. But it's kind of probably be over before there's any time to really respond, and it would just be business as usual. I understand you're originally from Christchurch in New Zealand. Well, as we all know, that's a city that's seen its fair share of crises. So do you think that's kind of has any effect on the way that you think about your work or the way that you go about making things? Christchurch. Yeah, thanks, Ronnie. That's really great. Very insightful, very thoughtful answers. Yeah, no worries. Okay, well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. Back to the studio. What have I been doing with my time? Taking the dog for walks, baking bread, sourdough bread, making a sourdough bug, ginger beer, watching Netflix, of course, it's, Disney Plus, bit of TV, that kind of thing. Sort of normal stuff, really. Just going to the shops, making dinners, lunches, breakfasts, afternoon teas, morning teas, all sorts of things. And I guess we need to play the guitar like everyone else as well. Let's have a look. I don't really